I'm Steve Abeda. I'm animation and environment lead on Halo.
I'm Shikai Wang. I'm an artist for the Halo team. And you can see here, this is Halo in action. This is more actually kind of a beginning cinematics. And we have thrown in a bunch of cool effects and stuff like that to make the player feel more involved in the game. And you can see the environments are pretty well lit. There's a lot of dynamic lights going on. You see the siren flashing over there per pixel. So actually, we project like a light map onto it. And it's not vertex lighting, it's actually per pixel. You can see that explosion right there too as well.
Right, so like all this stuff that goes on is a lot of it has to do with dynamic light and dynamic shading of the environment, which means that we can pre-render light maps, so it'll show you what lights would do in real life, and then in real time we can actually explosions will light up the walls, sparks will light up the walls, you can get flickering effects, you can turn on a flashlight, which is something that is pretty expensive in video games, so you don't see it too much, but on Halo we've been able to do that all over the place.
One thing good about Xbox is it allows us to do multiple passes on texture, so it gives us, you can see that there's self-illuminated lights on the door right there, and there's bump mapping and reflection mapping onto the surface, so that it simulates more or less like a real environment would do. And so when he flashes that grenade onto the wall, you see like a specular highlight on the wall. You see, if you get close enough, you can see that there's bump mapping and all this cool stuff that you just can't get with other consoles.
Right, cube mapping, detail maps, everything. I don't know how many maps you guys go through on each one, but there's a lot of passes. Yeah, this is another great thing about Halo. It's indoor and outdoor environments.
Right. And that's one thing you see at the sun over there. Like the sun, one of our programmers made it so that the sun actually creates like a volumetric effect when it passes through objects, so that it would more or less simulate how real world would do.
Right, and that's a good example of really special case effects that have been programmed into the game. Like he made that effect specifically for the sun.
Yes.
And we use it some other places too, but he also does stuff with the zoom camera, which you'll see, where there's very specific effects. We want to do something really specific, so he spent the time to do it for that one effect.
So part of designing the world for Halo is we start off with what we know more or less about real environment. And Xbox definitely gives us that opportunity to make things look more realistic. So this is more of indoor the inside technology of Halo, or on the ring of Halo. And without giving too much away of what Halo is and stuff, we try to make it look high-techy and cool, and also mysterious at the same time.
Right, and one of the challenges that the environment modelers had to do is there's a human race, which you are, so we have a specific architecture for that, and then there's the bad guys that you're fighting, and there's a specific architectural style for that. And Halo, the world that you're on, has its own look, and it was a pretty big challenge for them to be able to create all those languages, but it's pretty effective. Like you get in any room and you know which race built that room, which is pretty cool. So here's some Covenant characters, a little firefight. You can see how they differ from yourself. You're part of the human race, but you're fighting these guys that move around a little bit like different animals. There's guys that move around a little bit like birds and are very guarded. They carry big shields. There's some comical characters, the grunts that look like they have the big shark fin on their back. There's the elites, which lead them all, and they're very beast-like, very kind of cat-like in that they're very agile and scary in that way. And the hunters are the big, massive behemoths guy.
What's so cool about Halo is that the alien people you're fighting is a group of alien races, not just one type of alien.
You can see the armor on this guy. It actually reflects. If you get close to the cyborg, he has a bump map. So everything, all the big tools that were too expensive to use on other systems, we can do them everywhere now.
So what you're seeing here is uses of or demonstrations of two different types of weapons. There's one human weapons, which is right here is a sniper rifle, and what you saw previously were some stuff that he picked up were alien weapons. And I think one of the design philosophy that we try to do is we want to make sure that the weapons that the human use are more or less recognizable, and so that people would know how to use it, feel comfortable with it. And because we have a lot of play with the aliens weapons that we can go crazy with, so we wanted to stick with the simple rocket launcher, sniper rifles and stuff like that, and not get too crazy on the design on the human side. But when it comes to the alien side, we went all crazy with the curves and the shiny and the Fresnel effect and the purpling color and then all this cool stuff.
Right, and this, I mean, that goes with everything, right? The ship designs, the character designs, even with the animations, the way they move. The Covenant guys are way more beast-like. We try to get the Marines to look really familiar and human-like, because you're fighting with them. So I think you want someone who you have some familiarity with, so that I think you care about them a little more. You're trying to save them. You go against these jackals. They move a little bit like birds. They're hunched behind their shields. There's grunts, they're a little comical. It looks like they have trouble moving their own body weight around. But it was really fun to be able to explore all those different styles of movement for the Covenant.
Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing right here is a tank we codenamed Scorpion Tank, and it's a human tank. And you can see it has 4 different treads, and each one reacts relative to how it is placed on the ground. So in Halo we have really realistic physics where if you go over bumps and stuff like that, these treads move relative to the terrain and things. For the Arc side Halo, it's damn cool, man.